Hi Year 3, happy Friday. I hope you are all doing well and keeping safe. Now we are going to continue with our persuasive letter today. So remember, over Christmas, I only just received it recently though, we got a letter from the Felt Tip Pens to say that they were really unhappy with the way that we were treating them. And so we have been looking at writing a letter back to them to apologise for what we've done. So we've done our address and who we are writing to, why we are writing to them. We've acknowledged their feelings, and now we are going to today have a look at what positive actions we can do to help prevent this from ever happening again. So we've got 3 learning chunks to do today. We are going to just focus on this one paragraph of positive action though, so it will make up one paragraph in total from the chunks. So let's get started. So our first initiate for today, we are going to be having a look at precise verbs. So what can we do to make sure that the felt tips never get left without lids on again? Of course, we could say we're always going to make sure the lids are on, but is there something we could do or someone we could put in charge to kind of check these things? So have a think, and then in your first box, jot down some ideas of what you could do to prevent this from ever happening again. Okay, so what mistakes could we prevent? So I've said maybe we could get things like felt tip monitors or managers or guardians. They could inspect the pens. We can confirm that all lids are on pens all the time. So thinking about we might be able to use people to give them like a job like we do in the classroom. They can be felt tip managers. So the other thing that we'd like to do for this initiate is to have a look at some time adverbs. So when is this going to happen? So how often are the monitors going to check their pens? When are we going to check that every single pen has a lid on? When are we going to inspect them? All the kind of things like this. So there's lots of different times in the day that we could think about that we would need to make sure these monitors are doing their jobs. So pause the video, and in your second box, jot down some time adverbs for me, please. Okay, so having a think about when the monitors might need to do their job. It could be at the first lesson, at break time, by the end of the day, all those kind of time adverbs. So our first model today is talking about the jobs that we could give out and when they are going to check on the pens. So this morning we set up table felt tip pen monitors. Their job is to check all the lids are back on at the end of each lesson. So this is our other time adverb in there as well. So I've used time adverb at the beginning to tell me when we created these monitors, the fact that we set up the felt tip pen monitors and what their job is as well. So can you please pause the video, and for your enabling today, we'd like you to start with the time adverb, a comma, describe the system that you have set up and how often they are going to do this for me, please. Pause the video, 5-10 minutes to do that, off you go. Okay, so let's have a look at our next learning chunk. So we are focusing on the lens of the purpose here. And so the teacher is going to give you guys, I'm going to give you guys a set of instructions here of things that have to be done. We're going to try and use the pronouns everybody, nobody, anybody, every and everyone. And we're going to come up with a sentence that uses those pronouns that is instructions. So for example, everybody must make sure that every pen has a lid on it. Nobody can leave until everyone has checked their pens. So I want you in your box to come up with a few instructions you could give that uses those words. And then also have a think about how can we emphasise these words in our writing? What could we do to make them really stand out to the felt tip pens when they're reading the letter and know that everyone is going to take responsibility? So in your fifth box, have a go at those 2 things for me. Okay, so here are the examples that I've come up with. So nobody can, that should say go, nobody can go to break until every pen has a lid. Everybody must make sure of something everyone is responsible for. And then how can we emphasise it? Well, I was thinking when we're reading something and want to make it really obvious, we could put those words in capital letters. If we put the whole sentence in capital letters, it kind of loses the emphasis because the whole thing is. But if we put just these pronouns in capital letters, it will really emphasise to the pens that everyone is responsible for those things. So I'm going to show you what I've done in the model. So Miss Smith has said that nobody will be allowed to leave the classroom until every lid is back on every felt pen. So just using those 3 words there, nobody and every, but just putting them in capital letters makes them really, really obvious. So what I would like you to do is to begin with the teacher's name, either myself or Miss Copeman, I don't mind, and describe the rules that we have put on place in the classroom and make sure you're using these capital letters. I'll also put the pronouns to appear in just a second so you can double check which ones you are going to use. So there's your pronouns, so pause the video and then have a go at writing your instructions that your teacher's given you using those words with emphasis, please. Okay, so let's have a look at our last learning chunk for today. So we're going to include some conjunctions. So first of all, what I'd like you to do is to come up with a list of other words for and. So you might want to use your thesaurus or have a check on the internet or just other words that you know mean and. So pause the video and in your 4th box for me, please. Okay, so here's some of the ones you might have come up with. Also, in addition or additionally, you might have come up with some better ones as well. So our last lens that we're looking at today is all about synonyms, and it's things that you notice. So I'd like us to try and come up with some fancy words for colours. Now, to be able to do this, I googled different paint names because paint has really unusual, funny names, which was quite amusing to find all of them. So you can do that, or just some posh words that you might know for different colours as well. If you've looked at one of those colour thesauruses in class, that might give you a good place to start. So pause the video and funny, fancy words for colours, please. Okay, so my examples that I've got are Dragon's Blood, a great one for red, Flamingo's Dream, a nice bright pink, or Passion Fruit as well. So fancy colours, we don't just say, you know, red, pink, orange. We've done some nice fancy ones too. So we are going to use these conjunctions, these synonyms, to talk about our last point here, our last part of our paragraph. And this is talking about the fact that we are going to do something to try and get some more exciting colours, some more exciting felt tip pens too. So I'm going to start with my conjunction. Also, we are going to run a cake sale to raise money to buy more colours, such as Ocean's Azure, Jungle Green and Marmalade. So start with your conjunction, tell them what you're going to do. You don't have to run a cake sale, you might do something else to raise some money. But what fancy new colours are you going to come up with? Are you going to come up with Dragon's Blood or Flamingo's Dream or things like that as well? So start with the conjunction, describe how you're going to raise money, and then 3 exciting colours, and make sure you're thinking about the punctuation that you are using in that list too. Pause the video, do this last part of this learning chunk for me please, and then come back to me. So there is the beginning of your letter, which we will begin to finish off next week as well. Now, I hope you're enjoying writing your letter back to your felt tip pens. And when we get back after lockdown, we are hoping that they'll get our letter and all of our pens will be back safe and sound and they're not on strike. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Any questions, let us know on Teams or Tapestry, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.